I'm George Benson, president of the College of Charleston. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you here to historic Charleston and to what we believe is the most beautiful urban campus in the United States. I am particularly pleased, I agree. I'm particularly pleased to welcome the many family members and friends and guests who are here today to celebrate the accomplishments of these outstanding graduate students. By the way, this is the largest graduate class in the history of the College of Charleston. This college, as you know, has a deep, rich history. It was founded in 1770 by a group of men that included 3 future signers of the Declaration of Independence and 3 future signers of the U.S. Constitution. It is the 13th oldest university in the country and the oldest university south of Virginia. The first classes were held in the basement of the President's house, where I live today, in 1785. We begin today with our national anthem, which will be sung by Jonathan White. Jonathan is a vocal performance major who will graduate tomorrow afternoon. Jonathan, would you please stand?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
Thank you, Jonathan. Well done. Please be seated. I'd now like to introduce our platform party, if they would please stand briefly when I introduce them. From our Board of Trustees, Greg Padgett, Chair of the Board, and Philip Bell, Secretary of the Board. Other members of the Board of Trustees, Don Belk, John Bush, Demetria Clemens, Cherry Daniel, Frank Gadsden, Dwight Johnson, Dan Ravenel, Jeff Shills, and Joe Thompson. The deans of our schools, Amy McCandless, Dean of the Graduate School, Valerie Morris, Dean of the School of Arts. Representing Dean Shao of the School of Business is Jocelyn Evans. Jocelyn is Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs and Professor of Finance. Representing Dean Fran Welsh of the School of Education, Health, and Human Performance is Andrew Lewis, Associate Dean of the School of Education, Health, and Human Performance. Thank you. Cynthia Lowenthal, Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. Cynthia is stepping down from the deanship and returning to the faculty, and she has been dean since 2006. And Cynthia, I want to thank you for your leadership over all these years. David Cohen, Dean of the Libraries and Special Collections, and Dean of the School of Languages, Cultures, and World Affairs. Michael Auerbach, Dean of the School of Sciences and Mathematics. John Newell, Dean of the Honors College. John is retiring from the college after 34 years. John headed the honors program for 6 years, and in 2005, he became the founding dean of the Honors College, which we have today. John, your contributions were many, and you will be missed. Thank you. Members of our executive team, George Hine, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. George. Steve Osborne, Executive Vice President for Business Affairs. Mike Haskins, Executive Vice President for External Relations. George Watt, Executive Vice President for Institutional Advancement. Brian McGee, Chief of Staff and Senior Policy Advisor. Chuck Baker, the new President of the Alumni Association. Chuck, welcome. Glad you're with us. Representing College of Charleston Foundation Chair Ken Gustafson is Sharon Kingman. Sharon is our Vice Chair of the College of Charleston Foundation. Sharon, thank you for being here. Lynn Cherry, Speaker of the Faculty and Professor in the Department of Communication. Over here. Lynn. So this is hard. I don't know which way to turn. I'm guessing. Elliot Wright, President of the Student Government Association. Daniel Kassem, President of the Graduate Student Association. And finally, he will be formally introduced a little bit later. I'd like to welcome our commencement speaker and our honorary degree recipient. He is the recently retired Chairman and President of Michelin North America, Dick Wilkerson. Dick, welcome. Graduates, you should be extremely proud of what you have accomplished here at the college. Our programs, as you know better than most of us, are rigorous, they're intensive, they're cutting edge, and you were up to the task. You got it done. Your efforts have earned you a very valuable degree, and one that I believe will become even more valuable in the years ahead. Now, as you leave here today and move into the next phase of your life, I hope that you will stay connected to the college and return as often as you possibly can. And when you do return, you will find that the College of Charleston has evolved to an even higher plane. And I'd like to tell you just a little bit about what you'll see when you return. Our future is laid out in the college's 10-year strategic plan, and that plan describes our envisioned future for the year 2020, and it provides a roadmap to help us get there. At the heart of that plan are the college's 3 core values. If you know the core values, you know almost everything about the plan. You could literally write it yourself. The core values are a small set of guiding principles that describe what we stand for, and we think of them as being timeless. They should be as valid today as they are in 50 years or as they are in 100 years from now. The first value is academic excellence. To us, academic excellence means furthering intellectual, creative, ethical, and social development through a broad range of programs centered on the liberal arts and sciences. The second core value is student-focused community. This value sets us apart from most universities in this country, I should say fortunately, or maybe I should say unfortunately. Our faculty have developed a nurturing and caring environment that is second to none. Many students have told me this, many parents have told me this, and I've witnessed this both as president of the college and as a parent. My daughter Allison graduated 2 years ago from the college. The third and most unique core value is the history, the traditions, the culture, and the environment of Charleston and the Low Country, and the opportunities they afford for our students to learn and for our faculty to pursue scholarship. This value calls on us to take advantage of Charleston's unique assets such as our port, the historic preservation that goes on in this city, the ecology of the Low Country, the tourism industry, the African American history that is so rich here, urban planning, and the arts, among other areas. The college will invest and support in academic programs that align with and take advantage of those assets, and by doing so, we will differentiate this university from every other university in the world. In turn, we have pledged to protect and take care of Charleston's unique assets, and we already do that. Our students engage in service learning in local nonprofits, and they intern in local businesses. Our faculty assist our public schools and enhance our community's quality of life and economy through their research, through their thought leadership, and through their creative talents. We will do more and more and more of this in the years ahead. Our strategic plan charts an ambitious and exciting future for the college, one that will hopefully make you proud and keep you engaged in the years before us. As you return to the college in the years ahead, you will see expanded graduate programs, and some of those graduate programs will be overseas. Led by the efforts of our new Office of Sustainability, you will see Dixie Plantation become a leading center for environmental sciences research and education, and that's going to happen a lot faster than any of us think. And by the way, the Princeton Review recently recognized the college among the nation's most environmentally responsible green colleges for our commitment to incorporating sustainability into our academic programs, student life programs, and building projects, and there'll be just more of that to come. And by the way, as some of you have heard me say before, my generation didn't get it done relative to the economy. We got some things done. We didn't get that one done. It's up to you to do this, and I know you can do that. Virtually every student I've talked to, whether graduate student or undergraduate, cares about the environment, is vitally concerned about what happens to this world and this planet. And I thank you for that, and I look forward to what you're going to do for us in the years ahead. You will see the results of the Campus Master Plan, which we just completed, a year-long project we completed back in January. Those results will include the state-of-the-art classrooms, cutting-edge research laboratories, a new residence hall, a new student fitness center, a student health service center. You will also see a new alumni center that supports your professional development and promotes your lifelong engagement with the college. And you will see the emergence of a new philanthropic culture at the college, one we've not had before. We are currently preparing a national comprehensive fundraising campaign that will enable us to increase student scholarships, recruit and retain distinguished faculty, modernize our facilities and technological infrastructure, and develop distinctive academic programs and student services. But to achieve all that, we will clearly need your help. In a few minutes, you will become alumni of this historic university. You will join a network of 54,000 alumni around the world, a network that I know you will gain from throughout your careers if you reach out and take advantage of it. But just as you needed us, in a way, to reach the gateway to your career or to the next step in your career, we need you to help the College of Charleston reach its potential. We need your expertise. We need your advice. We need your feedback. We need your help as advocates for the college in recruiting new students and strengthening our relationships with the many institutions that you will work for and the many communities that you'll be living in throughout this country and around the world. We need your help in continuing to build a vibrant and responsive alumni network. And yes, we will need your financial support. You will be hearing that from me and my successors once or twice a year for the rest of your lives. Ladies and gentlemen, for the conferring of an honorary degree, I will now be joined by the chair of our Board of Trustees, Greg Padgett. Trustees Philip Bell and Cherry Daniel, would you please escort our commencement speaker, Dick Wilkerson, to the lectern? Jocelyn Evans, School of Business Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs, will present Dick Wilkerson for an honorary degree.
Growing up, Dick Wilkerson had trouble staying in one place. As part of a military family, he was always on the move. Before graduating from high school, in fact, he attended no less than 12 different schools. Such a dynamic childhood showed him the world and taught him how to integrate into new situations quickly and without obstacle. In turn, those lessons primed him for an incredibly successful international business career. After working 12 years for Procter & Gamble, Wilkerson joined Michelin North America, where he stayed for 31 years, ultimately retiring in 2011 after 3 years of running the company as its chairman and president. Ask Wilkerson about his time at Michelin, and you'll be hard-pressed to get him to mention tires. Instead, it's people he talks about, and how Michelin North America was able to cultivate a workplace where people felt proud to work for their entire careers, making meaningful contributions every day. Michelin North America employees spend an average of 20 years with the company. During Wilkerson's climb to the top, he benefited from the mentorship of Francois Michelin, who ran Michelin for 40 years, both as a businessman and as a philosopher leader. In 1989, Francois Michelin gave Wilkerson a plaque that urged him in 10 different languages to become who you are. The message was a shortened version of some wisdom that Francois Michelin often shared. The purpose of work is to provide a framework for people to become who they are. At Michelin North American, Wilkerson became a much valued executive, serving in a number of personnel and manufacturing positions before being named chairman and president. Just as important as his business successes during this time were his efforts to make Michelin North America a responsible corporate citizen. Under his leadership, Michelin employees have mentored scores of students living near Michelin North America's headquarters in Greenville, South Carolina. Michelin North America has also granted more than $2 million in low-interest loans to small businesses and enabled the creation of more than 500 jobs through its Michelin Development Upstate program. Despite such a long and distinguished business career, Wilkerson will tell you that one of the most fascinating and inspiring figures in his life has been a man he sees only outside of the office, his father. Now 92 years old, Wilkerson's father joined the Marine Corps after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and fought in 3 American wars, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Despite so much combat, battle did not make him a hardened man. Instead, Wilkerson counts his father as one of the most personable and sensitive humans he knows. He is, says Wilkerson, a man of integrity, gentleness, and commitment. He's a very special person. It is the opinion of the College of Charleston that Dick Wilkerson is a very special person too. It is my pleasure to present Dick Wilkerson. His business acumen and commitment to improving his community make him a worthy candidate for the college's Doctor of Humane Letters.
Richard N. Wilkerson, your commitment to creating opportunity and fostering personal enrichment, both in the workplace and in your community, is truly admirable and worthy of commendation. The College of Charleston is proud to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the College of Charleston, I now confer on Richard N. Wilkerson the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations, Dr. Wilkerson.
Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, and guess who it is? Dick Wilkerson. In so doing, I'd like to fill in maybe a few of the details that were not covered by Jocelyn. After earning a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Duke University in 1968, Dick spent 12 years working in Procter & Gamble's manufacturing, engineering, and human resources division, which is an interesting collection if you stop to think about it. In 1980, he accepted a position at Michelin as head of the company's Earth Mover tire line. I'd like to hear about that sometime. Dick worked his way up through the organization in 2006 and was named Executive Vice President of Personnel for Michelin North America. Just 2 years later, he would be named Chairman and President of Michelin North America. And by the way, Michelin North America employs nearly 8,000 people in South Carolina and generates more than $7 billion in annual revenue. So it's one of our economic powerhouses that we're very proud of in this state. During his 3 years as president, Dick devoted significant time and energy to strengthening the communities and the economies of Greenville and the state of South Carolina. He was also a strong supporter of South Carolina's public institutions of higher education, including the College of Charleston. Last May, Michelin partnered with the college to develop an online professional development program for Michelin employees seeking education in global logistics. This program takes advantage of the college's academic program in global logistics and transportation, as well as our connections to the Port of Charleston. Dick retired as chairman and president of Michelin North America last November, and he currently holds the title Chairman Emeritus. We are pleased today to have Dick's son, Richard, with us. Richard is a 2011 graduate of the college's inaugural MBA program. And Richard, would you please stand for us? If you all would please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Dick Wilkerson. Dick, it's all yours.
President Benson, distinguished faculty, members of the administration, graduates, families, guests, I'm really happy to be here, and let's dispense with the formality. I'm really happy to be here, not only to celebrate with you, but in this building, in this very building, on this floor 2 years ago, you beat the University of North Carolina in basketball. And I came to say thank you, okay? Now, I always like to know how many people I've offended. Are there any UNC fans? Tough luck. No, standing in front of that picture in the men's basketball locker room was special, and it just shows how far the reputation of this college has come academically, athletically. It is a special place, and I'm really happy to be here. I spent a lot of time reflecting on what to say to you today. I cannot remember the commencement speaker at my graduation. And maybe 40 years from now, you'll say the same thing. I hope not. I found a quote from Gary Trudeau, of course, the cartoonist who does Doonesbury, who said, "Commencement speeches were invented largely in the belief that outgoing college students should never be released into the world until they have been properly sedated." That is not my objective today. What I thought about in my 44 years of work, there must be something that I found very useful that I could give to you, and I've identified one thing I'd like to talk to you about, and to do that, to tell you a couple of stories. I started work for Procter & Gamble, and my first assignment was a department manager managing the Crest manufacturing department. I was proud. Crest was the preeminent toothpaste, and two of us were in charge of manufacturing all the Crest used east of the Mississippi River. I worked on B shift, which was 3:30 till midnight, and I came in one evening, one afternoon, and I always went to see my employees, and I was met at the door to the department by an irate man. I'll never forget his name. His name was Tom Lawson. Tom met me at the door and he said, "You were late posting the overtime sheet, and I lost 4 hours of overtime." And he was right. I'd been a couple hours late posting the overtime sheet. It was in rank order, and whoever was low got the opportunity, and Tom missed out on 4 hours of overtime. So I apologized to him, and I explained that he was now low on the list and that he would get the next opportunity. That didn't make Tom feel good, because from 3:30 until 7:30, every time he saw me, which was frequently, he said, "You were late posting the overtime sheet, and I lost 4 hours of overtime because of you." I suspect it was probably 10 times an hour for 4 hours. But Tom realized that wasn't working, so at 7:30, he took a different tactic. At 7:30, he saw me coming and he said, "What if I get sick? If I get sick, it doesn't matter whether I'm low on the overtime sheet or not, I won't get the overtime. What if I get sick?" And so from 7:30 until 9:30, every time I saw Tom, he said, "What if I get sick?" And at 9:30, this 22-year-old told that 55-year-old, "Tom, if you get sick, you'll do me a personal damn favor." How do you think I felt? Well, for 30 minutes, the afterglow of ending the conversation felt good. Tom's jaw dropped. He didn't say another word. 30 minutes later, my telephone rang, and it was the head of personnel for the Ivorydale area of Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, if you've not been to Cincinnati, Ivorydale at that time was this huge manufacturing complex of Procter & Gamble, and this was one of the chief hoo-has that was calling me personally at 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night. And he explained to me that I needed to go apologize. At that moment, I didn't understand, but I went out and I told Tom I was sorry. I didn't want him to get sick. I was just frustrated. But I was fortunate because I had a mentor at that time who met me the next day and sat down with me and explained why it was important, one, that I don't do that sort of thing, and two, that I apologized. And that is, when you are disrespectful to somebody, it erodes the currency of your leadership, it erodes your ability to influence their future, it breaks the chain of trust. And I never forgot that lesson. Partly because for the next year when Tom and I worked together, it was never the same relationship. I could tell. I couldn't inspire him. I couldn't touch him. He did what he was told, but not with the enthusiasm that he had in the past. My message to you is showing respect to people, even when they misbehave, is key to your future. It's key to your future professionally. It's key to your future personally. Now, I know some of you are thinking of political ads that you've seen that tend to belie that in our culture. We see a candidate say, "My opponent is a liar," and 2 weeks later, he endorses him for President of the United States. Hard to believe. But in the real world, in the world where you and I work, it's important to show respect. I have never seen a person inspired by being disrespected. I've never seen a student prodded to success by being ridiculed. I've never seen a teammate inspired to commitment by being excluded. I learned that lesson and I tried to pass it along to people. Soon after I came to work for Michelin in the early 1980s, I was in charge of a large production department, a couple of hundred people. And early in the 1980s, which was pretty advanced at that point in time, we decided we would ban the use of tobacco products inside our buildings. It seems really forward thinking, but in 82, 83, it was pretty remarkable. The first day that the new policy went into effect, one of my supervisors came in and said, "Wilbur's out there chewing tobacco." I was expecting smoking. No, but this is Anderson, South Carolina. Now who have I offended? No. Okay. Chewing tobacco. And the supervisor said, "I'm going to write him up to make sure that he is an example for others." Now, Wilbur Smith was a fine employee. He had an outstanding attendance record. He was never late. He did very, very high quality work. And I told the supervisor, look, give me a little bit of time and then let's get together in an hour and talk about how to handle this thing in the future. So I went out and I found Wilbur, and Wilbur was doing his job, and sure enough, he was chewing tobacco, but I didn't say anything about that. I talked to Wilbur about the weather. It was the autumn, nice season. I talked to him about Clemson football. Now, I need to take a check here. How many of you are Clemson fans? Okay, I'm going to say something that is supposed to be humorous, not disrespectful. Okay? It was the early 1980s, and Danny Ford was coach. So the football program was in great shape, and because of Danny's command of grammar, the English program at Clemson was in disarray. Nevertheless, we talked. Getting back to the story with Wilbur, we talked for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, Wilbur was somewhere a shade between yellow and green. Not many of you chew tobacco, do you? With me staying with him for 30 minutes, Wilbur couldn't spit. His only alternative was to swallow. And so after 30 minutes, I put my arm around Wilbur's shoulder and I said, Wilbur, you know we have a new policy and we don't want tobacco products used in the building. I'd sure appreciate it if you didn't use them in the future. And he looked at me and said, yes, sir, I never will. And he didn't. And he and I laughed about that for years afterwards when I saw him. The point is this, if we'd written him up, and this is what I told the supervisor, if we'd written him up formally and disciplined him, think about the impact of a man who had pride in what he was doing, a man who had really a good attendance record, had performed well. Is this the time you want to formally discipline and, in his opinion, disrespect him? The answer was no, and so we didn't. Showing respect to people at all levels of the organization is critical. I read a short anecdote by Joanne Jones that captured it best for me. She said, during my second year of nursing school, our professor gave us a quiz. I breezed through the questions until I got to the last one. What is the name, the first name, of the woman who cleans the school? Surely this was a joke, I thought. I had seen the cleaning woman several times, but how would I know her name? I handed in my paper, leaving the last question blank. Before the class ended, one student asked if the last question would count toward our grade. Absolutely, the professor said. In your careers, you will meet many people. All are significant. They deserve your attention and your respect, even if all you do is smile and say hello. The wish I have to give you is the wish that you will show respect to everybody that you work with, no matter how they behave. It takes discipline, it takes thoughtfulness, but it will be worth your while. So now you are entering, or in some cases re-entering, the world outside this wonderful university. It's a world filled with turmoil right now, both politically and economically. There's no question about it. But there's every reason for you to be optimistic. I've had the benefit of living in 2 foreign countries, of traveling throughout the world, but I have to tell you, every time the plane lands on U.S. soil, I bruise my lips kissing the runway. This is a special country. The sense of freedom here is unlike anywhere else I have been in the world. I read an article by Frederick Kunkel in the Washington Post in 2007. And in it, he's a famous historian, and in it he was tracing the DNA, the cultural DNA of the American spirit from Jamestown to the present. And here's the conclusion he reached. In so many ways, who they were is who we are. A little greedy, a little religious, a little reckless. We are open to mixing with other cultures, especially if there is a buck to be made. But we can be just as quick to dehumanize them. We are strivers who wiped out the old world's hereditary class system, but replaced it with another. Yet Jamestown offers a glimpse of one of America's greatest traits, and these are important. A willingness to discard and stop doing what is no longer useful, to trust an indomitable spirit to persevere, and to believe that the key to success is hard work. So 4 things to remember. If 40 years from now somebody asks you, don't ask my name, but remember 4 things. Show respect to each other. Stop doing things that don't work. Persevere, especially when times are tough. And don't forget, success is based on hard work. So now go out and make a difference. Congratulations to you and your families, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Dick, thank you for your wisdom. That was absolutely wonderful. We all learned something from that. Next, we welcome Daniel Kassem to the lectern. Daniel is the president of the Graduate Student Association, and he offers remarks on behalf of our graduate students. Daniel?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure you're all excited and happy to be here today. I'm proud and honored to stand before you as you officially finish graduate school. Just think, you finally made it. Sanity intact and all. I mean, at least we hope so, correct? Some of you might be actually returning and going in further in your education, in which I wish you luck. You're gonna need it. I'm not gonna stand here today and give you a sap speech about changing the world, because you're all a little smarter than that. What I'd like to do is share some comments and ideas that stem from an article found in a recent Wall Street Journal post. So first, the time that you spent out of class meeting and conversing with your fellow students was worth it. A normal week of a graduate student usually consists of your job work, papers to write, tests to study for, coursework to accomplish, readings to finish, research to do, appeasements to give to the grade gods, as well as internships, assistantships, volunteering, job searching, and too many other things to list out. By the end of the week, you were exhausted, your brain was fried, and you were running on 0 sleep. What made it bearable was the friends that you had outside of class and enjoying those moments, which you won't forget. Secondly, another point was brought up of not trying to be great. If one were to consider greatness quantified and placed in a normal probability distribution, being great would be considered a singularity, therefore making it an exception to the rule. In this way, thinking you're going to be great, you have a higher probability of disappointing yourself. So once you stop thinking about it and replace it by doing great things, you'll end up becoming great without ever knowing it. And if not, it doesn't matter. You're already 93% greater than everyone else out there. Which brings me to my third point. As I'm sure you already know, your worst days lie ahead. You'll be facing an economy where you'll be undervalued. This is inevitable, and at some point you'll find yourself in a position that will be considered below your worth. But you're used to this. You're graduate students. You were undervalued the whole time. But as you know, with a little perseverance and the right attitude, you'll come on top in no time. And lastly, as you go forth here today, just remember to question everything. Because with knowledge becomes greatness. Even Einstein said, the most important thing is to not stop questioning. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Daniel. Now I'd like to bring up Chuck Baker, the class of 1980, who will speak on behalf of the Alumni Association. Chuck, our new president.
It's a real honor for me to take part in your graduation today and welcome the newest members of the College of Charleston Alumni Association. You know, I had this script, but it's a little long, so I'm going to bag it. You probably want to get up here and get your diplomas. Let me just ask you to do 3 things, please. First, stay informed about the college. Visit the Alumni Association's website. Stay connected through Facebook and Twitter. We want you to become knowledgeable advocates for your school. Secondly, get involved. We have 26 alumni chapters throughout the United States and 2 overseas. If you move to a city where there's a chapter, go to the meetings. If you're in a place where there's not a chapter, think about starting one yourself. 3, give back. Keep your philanthropic spirit after graduation. Your contributions of time, service, and money will help make sure that those who come after you have the same great experience you had at the College of Charleston. So please remember, your Alumni Association will always be here to serve you. Congratulations and good luck to all of you.
Chuck, thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the reason that we are gathered here today, the awarding of the degrees. Chair Greg Padgett, Provost George Hind, Dean Amy McCandless, and Dick Wilkerson will assist with the presentation of the master's degrees. Upon successful completion of all requirements and with the recommendation of the faculty, I have the honor to present the master's degree candidates.
For the School of the Arts, Valerie Morris, Dean of the School of the Arts, and Cynthia Lowenthal, Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, will invest the hoods. Joining us on stage will be Professor Carter Hudgens, Director of the Joint Master of Science in Historic Preservation, and Professor Robert Russell, College of Charleston. For the degree of Master of Science in Historic Preservation, Shalar Iden. Catherine Marie Ferguson. Catherine Kelly Finnegan. Lauren Elizabeth Golden. Marie Elise Haremsky. Elise Marie Harvey. Brittany V. Lavelle. Rebecca May Long. Stephanie Paulette Marasco. Joseph Patrick Reynolds. Mariah Carlisle Schwartz. Syra Villa Valiente. David Lee Werrick. Jamie Lynn Weedman. For the School of Business, Jocelyn Evans, Associate Dean of the School of Business, will invest the hoods. Joining us on stage will be Professor Roger Daniels, Director of the Master of Science in Accountancy. For the degree of Master of Science in Accountancy, Karina Bartow. Daniel B. Bennett. Sarah Showman. Brandon Cole. Brian Robert Eyeshide. Amy Green. Michael Kramer. Du Ren Ma. Stephanie Lynn McCartney. Ms. McCartney has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Jessica Metz. Jared Mills. George M. Rabin. John M. Singler IV. Alexander Martin Tenhove. Emily Thronston. Tara Tripp. Daniel I. Walters. Ray Yu Wong. John Seabrook Whaley. For the School of Education, Health, and Human Performance, Andrew Lewis, Associate Dean of the School of Education, Health, and Human Performance, will invest the hoods. Joining us on stage will be Professor Angela Cozart, Director of the Master of Arts in Teaching Early Childhood Education, the Master of Arts in Teaching Elementary Education, and the Master of Arts in Teaching Special Education. Professor Robin Holman, Director of the Master of Education in Languages, Professor John Peters, Director of the Master of Education in Science and Mathematics for Teachers, and Professor Matindi Nunda, Director of the Master of Education in Teaching, Learning, and Advocacy. For the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching Early Childhood Education, Shara Stokes Allard. Ms. Allard has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Sarah Elizabeth May Bullock. Ms. Bullock has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Abraham D. Champagne. Samantha Heller. Katie Elizabeth Hine. Anthony Lorenzo James. Kathleen W. Lamb. Brittany Nicole Musselwhite. Erica Denise Parker. Justin Scott Siegel. Aaron Francis Snow. Laurie Dickerson Tyler. Christine Elizabeth Van Buren. Elizabeth Joy Hughes. April Morrison Zorn. For the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching Elementary Education, Carrie Mae Emerson. Brittany Lee Bauer. Matthew Stephen Carrington. Mr. Carrington has received the Outstanding Student Award for his program. Paul Michael Fisher. Elizabeth Ashley Gary. Melanie Garing Kiernicki. Kate S. Martin. Deborah Shannon Plant. Sarah E. Props. Trishna Kaur Sumal. Pamela Beth Thornburg. Ms. Thornburg has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Loring Young Ward. Kelly Jane Wildman. For the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching Special Education, Jenny Greta Blanchflower. Katie Brandt Meisel. For the degree of Master of Education in Languages, Shamika S. Davis. Kara Elizabeth Stout. For the degree of Master of Education in Science and Mathematics for Teachers, Erin M. Abner. Lisa May Owsley. Lauren Marie Rose. Ms. Rose has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. For the degree of Master of Education in Teaching, Learning, and Advocacy, Jennifer Lauren Bridges. Ms. Bridges has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Mary Margaret Costella. Aaron L. Craddock. Miriam Cumby Hood Riley. Pamela M. McLean. Chelsea Mintz. Maura Demetria Presley. Robin Katie Smith. For the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, Cynthia Lowenthal, Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, will invest the hoods. Joining us on stage will be Professor Vincent Bagnini, Director of the Master of Arts in Communication, Professor Susan Farrell, Director of the Master of Arts in English, Professor Jason Coy, Director of the Master of Arts in History, and Professor Joanne Ewalt, Director of the Master of Public Administration. For the degree of Master of Arts in Communication, Victoria Frances Bundy. Ms. Bundy has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Marla P. Loftus. Emily Stone Padgett. For the degree of Master of Arts in English, Whitney Jordan Adams. Matthew Daniel DeAngelis. Elliot Dobson. Susan Hallett. Rosanna May Henricks. Margaret Kathleen Lawley. Miss Lawley has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. William Porche Murray. Michael Owens. Jillian Shea Sable. Miss Sable has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Erica Swabinski. John Banks Smither. Louis Ashton Webb. For the degree of Master of Arts in History, Julie Chen. Andrew Patrick Davis. Mr. Davis has received the Outstanding Student Award for his program. Catherine A. Fowler. Emily A. Welch. For the degree of Master of Public Administration, Mark Daniel Akus. Allison Bale. Amanda Brooke Birkenhauer. Emma Cassidy Knight. Meredith Lanier Craig. Cara Lynn Dombrowski. Joseph Neil Gaglio. Michael James Gesme. Stephanie Jade Gibbons. Harrison Kenneth Gunnels. Kimberly Ann Lemasters. Michelle Rebecca McGrew. Ryan James Miller. Anne Marie Quinn. Miss Quinn has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Parker Ann Greason Steck. William Perry Storin. Louis A. Trusillo. Margaret Rutherford Ward. Catherine Louise Willoughby. For the dual degree of Master of Public Administration and Master of Science Environmental Studies, joining us on stage will be Michael Auerbach, Dean of the School of Sciences and Mathematics, and Professor Tim Callahan, Director of the Master of Science in Environmental Studies. For the dual degree of Master of Public Administration and Master of Science in Environmental Studies, Maggie R. Harrelson. For the School of Sciences and Mathematics, Michael Auerbach, Dean of the School of Sciences and Mathematics, will invest the hoods. Joining us on stage will be Professor Renee McCauley, Director of the Master of Science in Computer and Information Sciences, Professor Tim Callahan, Director of the Master of Science in Environmental Studies, Professor David Owens for the Master of Science in Marine Biology, and Professor Ben Cox, Director of the Master of Science in Mathematics. For the degree of Master of Science in Computer and Information Sciences, Van Doan. Dana Thurston Hughes. Mr. Hughes has received the Outstanding Student Award for his program. For the degree of Master of Science in Environmental Studies, Leah D.W. Baker. Lauren Nicole Brown. Andrea Ray Buskirk. Michael Griffin. Mr. Griffin has received the Outstanding Student Award for his program. Keith M. Hansen. Marin Elizabeth Hawk. Jennifer E. Jones. Jennifer M. Saunders. Jeffrey Michael Switkowski. For the degree of Master of Science in Marine Biology, Casey Lynn Darling. Peter Richard Feltman. Anna Grace Maniak. Kristen K. Stover. Ms. Stover has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. For the degree of Master of Science in Mathematics, Catherine Electa Pettings-Balin. Ms. Pettings-Balin has received the Outstanding Student Award for her program. Patrick Bartholomew Tangonen. Joseph Anthony Tracy.
Will all master's degree candidates please rise? These candidates have completed all the requirements for their degrees. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the College of Charleston, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching, Master of Education, Master of Public Administration, and Master of Science as appropriate, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. Please be seated. I would now like to acknowledge the faculty. They deserve the credit for the quality, the success, the reputation, and the strong student-centered culture that we have here at the College of Charleston. They have earned our thanks. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know nearly all of you got to this point on your own, but credit should also go to your families and to your friends. The support system they provide plays a critical role in the education process, and the faculty and I know that very, very well. I would like the parents, the grandparents, the spouses, and other family and friends of the graduates to stand so that our students and our faculty can thank you. Graduates, we are absolutely delighted with the value that you have added to the College of Charleston during your time with us. We've truly learned from each other. I wish each of you a long and productive career, and I offer you congratulations on a job well done. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduate class of 2012. If you would now please stand for the alma mater, which will be led by Jonathan White. The words can be found on the back side of your programs.
College of Charleston, hail, all hail. We will sing thy praises ever. College of Charleston, hail, all hail.
Thank you, Jonathan. Family and friends, would you please remain in your seats until the recessional is complete? Immediately following the ceremony, you're all invited to a reception in the Silcox Physical Education and Health Center next door. Now today, as I think you all know, virtually all colleges and universities parade out of commencement ceremonies like this to beautiful classical music from the 18th and 19th centuries. But we're not like other institutions, are we? We are the College of Knowledge. How about a medley that spans the 20th and 21st centuries? Chris, crank up the music.